Today, the government does monitor the concentration of nationalities at the firm level. Mr. Leong asked whether the threshold percentage of a company's workforce from a single nationality is a criterion for the Fair Consideration Framework, or FCF, watch list. The answer is yes. In shortlisting firms, Manpower Ministry looks at whether they have a high concentration of foreigners from a single nationality source, in addition to a high source of foreign PMETs relative to their industry peers. However, being flagged in the FCF watch list is not evidence that the firm has committed any wrongdoing. Potentially, it could be a sign that some unfair hiring may be occurring. The purpose of this watch list is to have the Tripartite Alliance for Fair and Progressive Employment Practices, or TAFEP, actively engage these companies to review and improve, where needed, their hiring practices and their human resource capabilities. The majority of the firms are cooperative. They respond positively and they exit the watch list. Now, for the small minority that are unresponsive, they can have their work pass privileges curtailed, or they can be suspended for a specific time period. And this is not a small penalty. Today, this is an effective process, albeit resource intensive. We currently have about 400 firms placed on the FCF watch list. Now, there are limitations in terms of the reach and the number of firms that we can put through this process. We will be looking to complement, to strengthen the FCF watch list with a more scalable approach. As mentioned in MUM's Committee of Supply speech this year, we are also exploring further refinements to our EP framework. Today, we rely primarily on salary as a gatekeeper to select complementary talent, because this is easy to understand and administer. But we are also exploring further refinements, further additional refinements to achieve our objectives of a strong Singaporean core, complemented by a diverse foreign workforce. I hope to share more details in due course. Last but not least, I want to deal with discrimination. We know not all employers play by the rules. We have zero tolerance towards discriminatory hiring practices. All employers are expected to comply with the requirements of the FCF and not discriminate on characteristics that are not related to the job. When it comes to hiring foreign PMEs, employers must first advertise on mycareersfuture.sg and consider all candidates in the local workplace fairly before submitting a work pass application. TAFEP investigates potential cases of pre-selection based on proactive surveillance. We use data analytics and AI as well to find out. So we actually sort of study the data quite aggressively. So we also receive complaints from the public, and we act on them as well. Since its introduction in 2014, the Ministry of Manpower has been progressively enhancing this framework. In January 2020, we stiffened penalties further for discrimination cases so that errant employers can have their work pass privileges suspended for at least 12 months and sometimes up to 24 months. Last year, we extended the FCF job advertisement requirements to cover S-passes as well as EPs. And we doubled the minimum advertisement period from 14 days to 28 days to give local job seekers more time to respond to job openings. Mr. Liang Ying-hua has asked about the results of our efforts. Over the past 3 years, TAFEP has handled an average of 170 nationality discrimination cases arising from complaints annually. The top 3 sectors making up about half of the complaints are the wholesale and retail trade, administrative and support services, and other service activities. These cases are investigated by TAFEP, and where warranted, they are referred to MOM for enforcement. Going forward, We will do more to clamp down on egregious employers with discriminatory employment practices. Several MPs like Mr. Louis Ng, Mr. Patrick Tay, and Mr. Vikram Nair had earlier suggested strengthening our levers to give more bite to our tripartite guidelines on fair employment practices. We take these suggestions seriously, and we have been studying various options.